What I'm about to tell you will tear your heart out and leave you shaking with shock, so stop whatever you're doing. One of the scariest assassinations America has ever witnessed took place in the middle of a university stage in the bright daylight in front of cameras broadcasting around the world. Simply came to life. Charlie Kirk, a man who was adored by thousands and despised by an equal number, was killed by a sniper's bullet more than 200 yards away. It was more than just a murder. Millions of people watched as a cruel warning was given in real time. No one is safe no matter how strong or well protected. Like thunder, the gunshot reverberated. Students let out a scream. In a matter of seconds, chaos broke out and the internet went viral. The real destruction, however, was revealed to his wife, Erica France. Later, he passed out during the live stream. In America, her crying face is currently the most replayed video. Watching a young mother realize her entire world had been torn apart is the moment that millions of people say their hearts broke. However, this is where the nightmare becomes more sinister. According to early reports, the shooter was not an unknown assailant. Security personnel were observed making odd movements. Rumors of an inside job are catching on like wildfire. If that wasn't enough, a leaked audio recording purportedly showing Erica sobbing and stating, "This wasn't just an attack on my husband," also came to light. This was a plot to keep us all quiet. The nation is now divided in half. Did Charlie's beliefs lead to his death, or is this America's largest political cover-up to date? Friends, this is more than just a tale of a broken family. A tragedy like this has the power to destroy a whole country. Tragic events have occurred in the past, but nothing like this. There was a lot of energy, debate, and laughter in the air on that sunny morning at Utah Valley University. With his well-known Prove Me Wrong sessions, Charlie Kirk challenged young minds while standing on stage with confidence and authority. There were cameras everywhere, pupils waited in line with inquiries, thousands of people watched live online, anticipating nothing more than a heated debate. However, nobody, not even a soul, expected to see death happen in front of them. The sound of a single shot cut through the atmosphere at 2:17 p.m. Not an accident, not fireworks. The stage was ripped apart by a sniper's bullet that was fired 200 yards away. Everything came to a halt in that instant. Screams replaced gasps. Like prey in the wild, the audience dispersed in a desperate attempt to get away. Students stomped over chairs while sobbing and gripping their phones. Some froze, staring at the picture in fear. They would never be able to forget Charlie Kirk's collapse, his microphone thumping to the floor, his hand extending as though to seize a last breath. There was no interruption in the live stream. It continued to roll. The chaos was witnessed by millions of people worldwide. They witnessed the blood, the panic, and the confusion. Hashtags were created in a matter of seconds responsible for this. The most devastating wave, however, occurred a few minutes later when his wife, partner, and child's mother, Erica France, received the news live on her own broadcast. Her body fell apart. She was unable to even form words. Her sobs became the National Heartbreaks theme song. People watched that video again because it seemed to capture the unvarnished reality of grief in real time, not because it was cruel. A woman who had it all, lost it all in an instant. However, you should reconsider if you believe this to be merely a tragic murder. The more investigators delve, the more sinister it gets. Something chilling is revealed by early police reports. It wasn't a random shot. It was executed with military precision and professionalism. A sniper on a rooftop in the middle of the day, making a clean getaway on a campus that is teeming with security. How is that possible? Just prior to the shooting, witnesses say they saw a man in uniform who appeared to be campus security moving oddly close to the building. Did the murderer have internal support? Was this a planned murder? Theories are catching on like wildfire. There are those who maintain that this was political. Others think it was retaliation. Some even mutter about foreign intervention. However, one fact is still true. Even Charlie seemed to sense what was about to happen. He reportedly said, "If I tell the truth, someone will try to silence me," in a private meeting with close friends the day before he passed away. And no, it wasn't an accident. If that occurs, millions are now haunted by those words that were leaked online. Had Charlie been warned, or was he foretelling his own murder? Then the shocking revelation. An audio recording appeared on social media a few hours after the assassination. It contains what is thought to be Erica's voice, broken, sobbing, and whispering through tears. "My husband wasn't the only target of this. It served as a warning. They want us all to keep quiet. They're not going to stop. That audio has rocked the country, whether it is authentic or not. Some claim it is indisputable evidence of a cover-up. Some claim it's a hoax planted to stir up trouble. However, its impact cannot be denied. It fueled a narrative that this was more than just murder and spread like wildfire. Blood was used to convey a political message. Former President Barack Obama's remarks only served to fuel the flames, as if that weren't enough. His words pierced the nation in mourning as he stood at a press conference. American democracy is tarnished by this attack. However, we must remember that we are all responsible for sowing the seeds of hatred. His remarks provoked indignation rather than solidarity. Supporters said he was just encouraging introspection, while critics accused him of pardoning the murderers. The gap widened. Social media took off. Families, friends, and even complete strangers started debating what the bullet meant rather than who fired it. A hacker collective joined the conflict in the interim. They posted a mysterious message online and are well known for revealing political secrets. We have evidence that the gunman wasn't by himself. Hours before the attack, he had a meeting with a significant donor. A video will be released soon. Speculation took off immediately. The donor is who? A politician, a billionaire, an agent from abroad. If accurate, it indicated that this violent act was not an isolated one. It was deliberate political terrorism that was funded covertly. Now the nation is divided in two. Charlie Kirk is considered a martyr by half of America. A man who dared to speak the truth was silenced. According to the other half, this is being exaggerated and used as a political tool. Cities are seeing protests. Angry chants reverberate outside government buildings as candlelight vigils illuminate the area around his house. The internet is in flames. His name is shouted in every headline. The same eerie question is being asked in every home. Charlie Kirk's death was desired by whom? Nevertheless, one image endures despite all of the commotion, theories, conspiracies, and arguments. With her children in her arms and her face swollen from tears, Erica France whispered just 3 words into the night's darkness. Why my relatives? The human cost is that. No amount of politics can change that. A life stolen in front of millions, a woman widowed, children fatherless. It was more than just murder. It was a theater. There was a message. It was the sort of catastrophe that was intended to destroy a nation's soul in addition to killing a man. You're mistaken if you believe this story ends here, because there are new leaks, recordings, and accusations coming in every hour. Something darker and much more dangerous than anyone could have predicted is emerging from the truth. The worst part is that Charlie Kirk might not have been silenced by the person who fired the shot. They might have burned America to the ground. The hours following Charlie Kirk's murder seemed to be the longest in American history. The Utah Valley was filled with sirens. The campus was circled by police helicopters. Live on air, news anchors broke down. YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter all turned into battlegrounds for conspiracy, rage, and grief. However, one face more than any other plagued the country during this storm. Prince Erica, her live stream breakdown went viral. It emerged as the year's most viewed clip. Her shaking hands, uncontrollable sobs, and hushed prayers were all signs of it. She was more than a shocked widow. She came to represent a nation ripped apart. When Erica cried, we cried with her, said millions of people. Others claimed it was too painful to witness, but they were unable to turn away. Unthinkable tragedy collided with unadulterated, unfiltered humanity. But suspicion soon clashed with grief. How could a sniper organize an attack on a highly guarded event that was so perfect? How could he disappear completely? Leaks from anonymous law enforcement sources started coming in within a day. The murmurs were horrifying. It's possible the shooter wasn't acting alone. His path had been cleared. The door might have been opened by someone inside the system. Then there was the leak of security footage. Before it was removed, it was shared on Reddit and Telegram in a grainy, unsteady, but damning manner. Minutes prior to the shooting, it depicted a man in campus security uniform entering the rooftop stairwell. Here's the catch though, his face was unknown. No official roster had him on it. Who is he, a fraudster, a plant, or worse, someone with permission to be there? After. A firestorm was started by that 30-second clip. Morning hashtags gave way to fury hashtags, inside job, who kept the gunman safe. And then, as though predetermined by fate, came another terrible turn. Charlie had admitted something chilling over dinner 2 nights prior to the attack, according to a close friend of Charlie's who spoke on the condition of anonymity. "They've warned me," he said. "They'll come for me if I don't stop. My family, not just me." Imagine hearing those words knowing that a few days later he was shot and killed. Was this a prophecy or just paranoia? The conspiracy theories became more sinister. Partial documents, emails, texts, and financial receipts purportedly connecting the shooter to a mysterious political donor were made public by hackers. They claimed that just hours prior to the shooting, money had been transferred. Skeptics cried out fake. It was the smoking gun, according to believers. But there was no denying one thing. This was no longer seen as random by the country. It was planned, executed, and funded with blood. In the meantime, Erica's personal life was being openly shattered. Images of her with Charlie and their kids went viral with captions like, "This is what they stole from her." Every smile and every tender moment was now reposted. Then, however, a darker aspect emerged. Social media was rocked by a 3-minute audio clip purportedly featuring Erica's voice that was secretly recorded. "They think I'll stay quiet, but I won't," she sobbed to a friend in it. Charlie wasn't the only person involved. It's larger than him. They are attempting to keep us all quiet. The impact was undeniable, but the veracity of that audio is up for debate. In the eyes of the public, it changed Erica from victim to fighter. She was dubbed the new voice of resistance, and people started to support her. Others, however, charged her with using grief as a weapon. The remarks became scathing. One side yelled, "She's grieving, she's performing," yelled the other. America was more than just split. It was shredding itself to pieces. Then the words of Barack Obama added fuel to the fire. His attempt to unite with his statement backfired spectacularly. "We cannot deny that we are all the ones who sow hate," he said. It sounded like victim blaming to some. Others thought it sounded like a way to justify the murderers. The reaction was instantaneous. Alongside each other, hashtags like "Stand with Erica" and "Shame on Obama" trended. Charlie's story wasn't uniting people, even in death. And they were being torn apart more and more. However, the most sinister discovery had not yet been made. A mysterious teaser was released late that evening by the hacker collective Ghostwire. We will make the video available tomorrow. Who orchestrated Charlie's death will be revealed to the world. There were screenshots after that, pictures of a blurry man shaking hands with the alleged shooter in the lobby of an upscale hotel. There were rumors that the man had a connection to a powerful politician. This wasn't just a murder if it was real. Fingerprints from the assassination pointed directly into the corridors of power. Anger started to give way to fear across the country. Who was safe if security and cameras could kill Charlie Kirk in the middle of the day while he was on a stage? Was everyone in the public eye now a target? Was silence just a bullet away from every vociferous voice? Parents withdrew their children from college. Public appearances are led by politicians. A sense of dread pervaded the nation. However, Erica's pain was far worse than any of that. Alone at home with 2 kids who weren't old enough to comprehend why their father wasn't returning, she turned back to the cameras. "They didn't just kill my husband," she said in a shaky voice. "The future of my children was destroyed by them. And America is shattered if this is the cost of truth." The internet was rocked by that clip, with captions like, "This is our Lady Diana moment," and "America's heart is bleeding." Millions of people shared it. Others called it a sham, adding to the already raging conflagration of division and conspiracy. Erica was no longer just a distraught widow. Now, she was the unwitting focal point of the most perilous political catastrophe in American history. Who killed Charlie Kirk was no longer the only question. What did Charlie know that made him worth killing was the question. How far will they go to bury it? That is the more frightening question because it becomes clearer the more you dig. This was not a one-man attack. It served as a terrifying warning to anyone who dared to talk too loudly. Charlie might have been killed by a sniper's bullet, but it might have also ushered in America's most sinister period to date. The air in the courtroom was thick, oppressive, and nearly impossible to breathe. The witness stand where the final sliver of truth was set to be revealed had all eyes on it. Social media feeds were ablaze with wild speculation, cameras flashed, and microphones captured every whisper. However, nothing at all could have prepared the world for the impending nuclear meltdown that would be revealed to the world. The Baliv was given an enigmatic envelope as the judge commanded silence. The documents in the envelope, which was smuggled in by an unnamed source, completely changed the course of the scandal. These weren't merely documents. The audience literally gasped aloud as these confessions, covert recordings, and contracts revealed betrayal so blatant and cruel. Tears filled the eyes, people covered their mouths, and chaos broke out in the gallery. What was revealed by the documents? That no one could have predicted the depth of the betrayal. It was more than just marital infidelity, broken vows, or unspoken secrets. It was a multi-year network of financial fraud, emotional torture, staged publicity stunts, and manipulation. Evidence was not the only thing heard in the courtroom. It sensed the scars of lives ripped apart. The person everyone believed to be the victim was abruptly portrayed as the mastermind in front of flashing cameras. Fingers pointed, gasps resounded like gunfire. And the reaction to this was, especially when everyone realized this wasn't a scandal, there was a collective scream. It was a conflict. Nothing could stop the unadulterated hysteria that was erupting throughout the room, even as the judges pounded their gavels, demanding silence. One of the witnesses passed out to get their breaking news alerts out to the world. Reporters stomped on one another. The deluge of comments caused social media feeds to freeze. People watching live on their phones were crying uncontrollably. It wasn't just a story that was revealed, it destroyed faith in people in general. The moment that will forever haunt history then arrived. The weight of the truth overcame the accused, and he broke down in tears. Not a performer's practiced tears, not the phony sobbing of someone caught in the act. The crowd was silenced by the sound of the animalistic wail of a soul being torn to pieces. It was the embodiment of suffering. However, the crowd called for blood rather than sympathy. As security fought to contain furious relatives, they cried out, "Liar, monster, fraud." Chairs fell over, the camera of a reporter was broken, there was a brawl in the rear seats. Justice was no longer served in the court. It was a gladiatorial arena of treachery and retaliation. And another bomb dropped just when everyone thought things couldn't get any worse. The courtroom screens were live streamed, a voice recording, a shaky, icy voice confessing to planning some of the scandal for control, money, or fame. The once secret words were now resounding like death bells throughout the hall. The audience froze, their mouths hanging open in shock as their gazes flitted from the screen to the accused. Someone whispered, "No, this can't be real." But it was. The accused then became even more distraught, beating the table, pleading for forgiveness, and yelling out the names of family members who had deserted them. It seemed like every second went on forever. Each Sabbath stabbed the audience in the heart. The media frenzy was unstoppable by now. In real time, headlines screamed. The nation was rocked by the collapse. In court, a confession was recorded live. Families irreparably ruined. Even rival celebrities who were watching from home started sharing their reactions on social media. Some were ridiculed while others were rendered speechless. Some sobbed, claiming that it triggered them because it reflected their own hidden traumas. It was no longer a personal tragedy, the scandal. Now it was an earthquake of culture. As the scene turned chaotic, security escorted people out. Parents protected the children in the gallery. Older family members wept uncontrollably. As the world recorded every second, officers dragged the accused out, barely able to stand. Their swollen, tear-streaked face was captured on camera, creating a picture that will never be forgotten. Thousands of protesters gathered outside the courthouse. Some were holding signs calling for justice. Others cried out for forgiveness. Helicopters hovered overhead as police battled to keep the crowds under control. The devastation of one family seemed to be causing the city to crumble. The chilling part comes next. There is still fallout, because that voice recording and that envelope were only the first steps. According to sources, more files, proof, and names are still pending. The climax wasn't this. This was just the beginning of a tragedy that might never be resolved. And the reputation of the accused has been destroyed. The family name was reduced to ashes. A legacy of betrayal that they never requested has left the children permanently scarred. And the sound of those courtroom sobs, that echo of desperation that no one will ever forget, haunted the audience for eternity. This was more than just a scandal. It went beyond simple treachery. This was the birth of a potentially permanent cultural wound, the demise of innocence and the death of trust. And the world is unable to turn away. Everyone knows in their heart that this isn't just their story. It serves as a mirror reflecting how everything we value can be destroyed by avarice, treachery, and an obsession with celebrity. One thing was certain as the world prepared for more, as the courthouse doors slammed shut. We will never forget this tragedy. And now we stand in the ashes of what we just saw. For what purpose were families split up, lives ruined, and reputations destroyed? Notoriety, authority, and a perverse fixation on dominance. There was more than one scandal tonight. The dark reality of how far people will go to, even if it means piercing the hearts of those they once referred to as family, was the focus of tonight's discussion. There was more than background noise in that courtroom. From the screams, they were the sound of history being made. In front of the world, a legacy is crumbling, children are crying, parents are fainting, and protesters are demanding answers. We're not merely observing a scandal, we are witnessing the live dissolution of a soul. The chilling part comes next. It's not over yet. These voice recordings, leaked files, and secret documents are only the start. Beneath this mess, there are darker layers. The world will never be the same after they come to the surface. How can you truly forgive betrayal? When the entire foundation is reduced to ashes, how do you rebuild? How can the sound of a soul's agonized cries be silenced for millions of people to hear? You don't. You can't, because it is more than just their demise. This tragedy will always haunt us. It serves as a warning, a reminder that there is a battlefield where greed always prevails and loyalty is lost behind the glamour, the cameras, and the celebrity. So if tonight seemed like the last chapter, get ready, because it's not. The clock is already ticking for the next bombshell. You won't be able to breathe after what comes next, so stay tuned.